I'm Snapchatting all 46 of you right now. Say hi. Snapchat.
We actually met some people when we went to the Outlander cast clan gathering last Sunday.
Yes, that was a great gathering. Thank you very much to Outlander cast.
Well, you slept through the whole thing, didn't you? Did you see it?
Yeah, I saw it.
Okay, tell me something then.
He wakes up from fainting. He goes, "Oh my God, it's you." They play a striptease and they have whoop whoop, and yeah, so that was it. And then they have whoop whoop again, I think.
They might have been going for 3 times to make it match the wedding episode. There was a lot of callbacks to that.
Those Utes.
What?
Those Utes.
They're not Utes. That's the whole point. That's why so many women love this book, because it's got an older couple who are romantic.
Yeah.
There was so much hype that I found myself, instead of really relaxing and enjoying the experience of watching the show, I felt on edge. My stomach was in knots a little bit. It reminded me, you know what it was like? It was sort of like if you went to see your kid in a play. That you're enjoying it, but every second you're worried, what if they screw up?
Every time everyone is thinking about the Sam and Katrina whoop whoop, they should be thinking about their kids' play.
I'm just saying.
That's just,
okay, maybe
you've just ruined it for the entire female nation, everyone.
Maybe it's a little less creepy to say you go to see a friend in a play. And I'm not talking about the actors are my friends. I'm talking about the show itself. The show itself is the friend I've gone to see in a play. And
having whoop whoop.
Okay, can I even get the thought out?
I'm sorry, sweetie.
So you have all these feelings about your friend doing this thing. All right.
Okay, your friend doing your thing with the kids in the play.
I think people get the idea.
Stage.
I was on edge during the show because I was worried it wasn't.
She hasn't even worked in the roller coaster into the kids on the stage during the sex scene with the friends.
I was on edge during the episode, I think, instead of really enjoying it, because I was worried for them. I was worried for them that it might not be good. And I don't mean Claire and Jamie, I mean the show. This is what I mean about being distracted while I was watching the episode last night. Even during the sex scenes, instead of enjoying them, I was imagining, the direction. Even when they kissed, I'm thinking in the background, someone's saying, hold it a little longer, look in each other's eyes a little bit longer. Don't kiss yet. Wait. It was just such a shock when all of a sudden in this scene where they're kind of playing the dialogue, a lot of it straight from the book, and then all of a sudden they make this huge change to have Jamie go ahead and tell Claire about his son. And I can kind of see why they did it. He's holding back another really big secret that he hasn't told her yet, and book readers knew, and that was one reason that young Ian was like, oh, yeah, sure, come back to Lollybrock. It's going to be no problem. I think maybe that they want for Jamie to not be keeping so many secrets from Claire. There's another thing that somebody really missed that I kind of missed too. In the book, after he looks at the photographs and sort of the whole thing sinks in to him, that's the other reason why it threw some people out, that he got up, walked across the room, and started talking about his son. Because in the book, he just basically has a meltdown. He just sort of crumbles into her arms and weeps for everything he's missed. Actually, I did enjoy seeing them be awkward with each other and, seeing them get to know each other. I mean, there were many callbacks to the wedding episode, although I think I prefer the wedding episode, maybe. Well, the other thing I noticed, which was a cool detail of Terry Dresbach, was that she had the straps over her shoulders in her little corset thing were stocking garters. During the long sex scenes, part of me was thinking, what time is it now? Like, how are they going to get to this? Like, when's Ian coming? Like,
Will they stop screwing already? Will they just stop it? Stop screwing. Stop it. Please. That was sweetie.
No, but I was just thinking, like, when's this going to happen? When's that going to happen? When's young
the
Ian?
sex just got in the way.
When's
much.
young Ian coming in the room? When is Fergus coming back?
You see what I have to live with?
But I'm glad they kept the part about where she goes down to have breakfast with the prostitutes and they think that she's a prostitute too, because that's just a funny, I mean, you don't think of Outlander as being funny, haha, but there are little humorous scenes like that Diana Gabaldon writes. And Claire's just sort of going along with it because, I mean, she tries to get a few words in, but then she just goes along with it and it's pretty funny. What do you think? Talk about Fergus.
Sweetie really, really loves Fergus. So, Fergus, if you're watching, she really loves you. She talks about you all the time in bed.
No. Well, yeah, we are in bed, but I do like Fergus. I don't know why I like Fergus so much. I mean, he is a very loyal person, a very noble person, although nobility among thieves. I mean, he was a thief when Jamie found him, and now they're smugglers. So he has continued sort of his life of subversive noble thievery. I am 98% sure that in
7.7.
that in the book he wears a hook. There's a scene later on in this book where because of disguising themselves, they fill a glove full of bran or some other they stuff a glove and put it on him because they know that he'll be much more recognizable or memorable if it's obvious he only has one hand. But I think that probably they thought about that scene and thought, wow, it would be so much easier for the prosthetics and the after effects and the green screen and whatever department if we just have him like wear a metal hand.
You see how being a Final Cut editor has just ruined her from the natural enjoyment of a show.
Well, I was kind of looking forward to seeing his hook, Because it's like Fergus. Now I forgot what I was going to say that was about spoilers that were on Twitter last night. Oh, people were saying that Fergus didn't have enough of a French accent. And nobody jumped in. I'm sure they knew this. It was like, he's actually French. Like the guy who's playing Fergus is actually French. Well, I love Fergus, but actually, in the end of the day, Ian is a more major character. That's a spoiler alert, but you didn't really get much of a sense of Ian, and I have to say the casting for young Ian is completely not how I picture Ian. But yeah, hashtag spoilers, Ian sticks around. Then the other scene that actually people have been waiting for with great trepidation is Mr. Willoughby. I don't think Diana at all meant to be racist, but it's impossible for us to go back to the 1990s when she wrote this book and know exactly like...
There are stone time machines, so it is possible one has to suspend one's disbelief. I'm
Right,
trying to give some practical advice for the time travel.
This is a very serious topic, though, actually, that there's been a lot of discussion about in podcasters that have been reading through the Voyager book and just in general on the internet. The character of Mr. Willoughby E. Cho, a Chinese immigrant, is a lot of people consider problematic, that it's not politically correct the way he's dealt with, just from the very fact that Jamie gives him another name rather than try to call him that. And that sort of like removes part of his identity. But a whole sad part of that character is the removal of his identity by leaving China and by being in this strange place where nobody understands him and everybody thinks of him as somewhat less than human. I think I do remember the reference they made last night that his name means something rude in Gaelic. I do think a lot of times, and sometimes I admire her for this, Diana Gabaldon refuses to be politically correct just to make people happy today when she's trying to portray the way something would have been back in that time. I could imagine a conversation in the writer's room with Ron Moore with them saying to just leave him out is almost just as bad. To say we don't want to try and figure out how to make a sympathetic, meaningful character about this Chinese exile in the mid-18th century, instead of trying to figure out a way to deal with that sympathetically and without being too stereotypical, we're just going to leave it out. So I think they probably felt like the gauntlet was thrown down, that they had to figure out a way to fix it and make it better but still use him.
She did not have the patience of 2 lines of dialogue to wait for the line of dialogue. They always delivered the line of dialogue.
No,
but it was
like,
always 2 lines beyond Sweetie's preference.
Right, it was like,
for when the dialogue should be delivered.
Why doesn't he ask what a bicycle is? And then he did. Where's the zipper? And then there it was. Like the moment later.